6 p.m.
We're on the board and committee reports and update. First, tonight we have an update from the Community Center Committee, Leslie Byrne.
Thank you. Is the mic okay? Can you hear me?
I
Can you
do.
hear me okay? So hi, thanks for having us. We wanted to come and just give you an update of what we've been working on. I gave a summary and we're going to review some of that. So since we last saw you, we've been working towards a needs assessment. That is what we had decided we would move forward on. And if you remember, that's an in-depth assessment, measurement of how the Topsham community feels about moving forward with the community center. We did our survey. We'd like to get more. We've got permission to move forward on that. And then after a needs assessment, if we decided to move forward on that, that's where the feasibility study is, and that would consider the potential land, building needs, and current businesses that people access that might compete with the community center. We've also been working hard on recruiting members. We were up to 7, now we're down to 6. We welcome a couple more members. We absolutely welcome members. We're trying to do multi-generational representation. So to have folks of the older generation or younger, having younger kids would be great. We're very well represented in the middle. So that's great. So as for the needs assessment, we've considered both UNH and the Muskie School, which are 2 local options. When looking at that, we looked at cost, availability, and the work that has been done by UNH. They came in, so we've met with Bob Barcelona and Matt Fry from UNH, and they've completed a number of assessments in Maine, and we looked at their work in these towns. UNH, interestingly, is able to do the job, the potential job for $10,000, which is fantastic because it keeps this cost low because they use the students. So we met with them, and then it gets a bit complicated because Bob Barcelona has since taken a job at Clemson University. So that throws things a little bit for us. So we were moving forward on this, very excited, and then he has made a change. But he feels still very committed to Topsham and hoping that he's going to be able to complete this job even still, and we'll know more in August. Around August 1st. Originally, we were thinking we'd be able to do some of the pop-ups and things in the summer to gather information, but we're just going to have to see. Well, that's more to come. So we, as a committee, have met and sort of weighed the benefits of both. Sticking with Bob Barcelona, who would be the primary person who's running it. Matt Fry from UNH still would be his support person. He feels that he can still do it from a distance. He's the one that looks at all the detailed information, and that could be here to come and go from the pop-ups and things like that. So we met and we compared those, and we just feel like really waiting till August to figure out if he can do this is the right move because of the enormous cost savings. So in that, if he is not able to do it, we can make another plan. But we've talked to them about how can we continue to move forward even while we're waiting. And he gave us some great ideas about thinking about stakeholders in the community, thinking about focus groups. Where would we hold these? What would we do? It's the pop-ups I'm referring to, like they did for the Plan Your Topsham and down at the fire station area, and even outdoor areas where we would be able to meet with people. So there's a lot to do in preparation for whoever it is that we decide to work with. And then we're also, another avenue that they mentioned was working on how are we going to present ourselves in social media, how we're going to communicate with people in the community so that the information is out there and that we're being transparent with everything that we're gathering. So that's another thing that we've been thinking about a lot. So we're here to talk, I'm just here to talk about that and see what you all are thinking. There is a breakdown of the $10,000 that I have here. If you'd like to look at that further, we're not really at that point because we don't even know if he's going to do that. It is a pick and choose kind of a information that he's given us with the breakdown, but truly as a committee, we've felt like we're going to need support to do this. We, as busy people in our lives, don't really feel like there's a lot more that we can do. We're loving overseeing it. We're happy that we're up to a good amount of people. So we could also, so we could put the RFP out for, we could also create an RFP that to put out for a different a different person to do the needs assessment. But I think we really should, we're recommending that we wait and see what happens as of August 1st. Any questions or comments around that?
What's the difference? The difference
It was
between
40,000.
40,000 different or?
$40,000 to ish, 40 to 45, right?
Oh,
So so it's it might be worth the wait.
yeah, no, there's not a question in my
And
mind.
and the availability of the Muskie Center, if I remember correctly, they weren't quite as available.
Yeah, I think it was not clear who exactly would do it. Would you like, yes, I'm sorry.
The person downstairs will be upset if they're not at the microphone.
She'll yell at you for not speaking up.
I'm not gonna say it was exactly 40,
Yes.
it was in that ballpark. We were dealing with someone who had done assessments, not parks and recreation assessments. Mr. Barcelona and Mr. Fry, Dr. Barcelona and Dr. Fry are very well known in the profession for what they do, providing a real quality finished element with the knowledge of they're using students, they're bringing in data, they do that type of thing. So we felt that was the best answer. Matt had reached out to Muskie and we had heard back from them, but a lot of it was up in the air as to availability and what they could provide. So
Do know the feedback, someone had watched one of your meetings and they were extremely impressed with the UNH, just listening and stuff, and they had made that comment, so it sounds like you probably made the best decision,
Okay.
quite frankly, in my opinion. That's just my opinion.
Yeah, works for me too.
we were very pleased with him. He has a good reputation. I've attended a lot of his presentations at conferences throughout New England. And he knows his business, and there's a reason he's going back to Clemson to be a good chair.
It's because there's palm trees, that's why.
And because UNH hasn't won a hockey championship ever.
Excellent.
I should add, we do have two consistent members who are coming at the best of their ability to come and who are not members, but so we do have those as well. And then the last thing we wanted to ask is through conversation, as we're referring to ourselves as the Topsham Community Center Committee, there's question in the community, like, are we getting a community center? Where is it going to be? So we came up with the idea of changing it to the Topsham Community Center Exploration Committee, because that is just, there's no assumption that we're moving forward. And we're very clear when asked those questions, what are, that we're not making any plans. We're just assessing the community and determining that. So we wanted to run that by you and see if that felt better to.
It's a good idea. I just don't think it's necessary because it
Mhm.
says community center committee.
Oh.
If it said community center board or something like
Okay.
that, that's just my opinion.
Yeah, and I think it's a good icebreaker.
Which-
Causes them to ask questions,
Uh-huh.
the current meeting.
Uh-huh.
And then, I don't know, it's just, are we gonna change it to implementation committee and then we're gonna change it to steering committee?
Okay.
That's
as
just
long as-
that's my thought.
Okay,
I think it's a great icebreaker.
okay. Anything else? We'll continue to talk about it then. Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Yeah,
Thank you.
you're welcome.
Update from the planning department, Rod Melanson, planner.
Good evening, and I think this is my first random planning update, and it will be my last, so it's gonna be bittersweet to be up here. So I'm gonna step through an update you what's going on. So planning board, as you all know, there's ordinance amendments that are prepped and ready for town meeting review and voting. Lots of development over the past year. Still continue to see solar farms coming to us. There's some small projects that are in the pipeline right now coming to the planning board over the next couple months. And the busy thing now is the season for construction inspection. So the subdivisions that took a break over the winter are getting back online. And you can see if you drive around, you see the construction happening now. In that regard, the detail with the Romer Joe's and Second Street where we've held a few walks and done some site, and there's even confusing elements to when projects get approved by the planning board and then some changes occur during construction. That what we approve at site plan review is concept level, not construction detailed plans. You get on site and a catch basin may need to move here or there. It really doesn't change the approvals much. In this case, I'll be chatting with the planning board about the sidewalk on Second Street going to the other side of the street. I was in front of you, that's a night, I don't even remember, but we authorized, because of the enhancements, that we were gonna use traffic impact fees to pay for a drainage upgrade, catch basin movement. In support of this, public improvement. So those details are being figured out. I think for the most part, most people are happy about that. And you'll see that that's gonna be implemented over the summertime. And thank you guys for all the assistance out there. Appreciate that. Some of the grants that we have going on right now, Foreside Water Access. That's a project that's gonna really get going. It really hasn't started because of this winter season, so the site work will happen now, and that's just really a feasibility of putting together the data needed to see if water access is even possible off the Foreside Road, and that includes the Topsham pump station and the Foreside Rec Fields area. And that's where that assessment will occur. Coastal Community Grant with the Topsham Fairmont Watershed is ongoing. Not a whole lot of work over the winter time. That's going to be kicking back into gear. And that's really a project that's looking at forward-thinking solutions to stormwater management in that area, and kind of more of a green infrastructure approach versus what the watershed plan had identified years ago. So it's an update, and that's a grant support. Another watershed grant is the 319 project. That was just in front of me just a little bit ago. I'll go into the details there. Some funding that we hope is that was confirmed and that will be reimbursed after this construction season is the Municipal Partnership Initiative with NDOT on a pavement on Main Street. So that grant will be reimbursing half of the cost of that overlay that Dennis is doing. We did confirm that we are receiving in a very cryptic manner NDOT PED funding. That was in front of you guys in August of 21. And we just heard yesterday that it was confirmed for the last cycle, but didn't get funded. I can't even explain the email that I got, so I won't bother trying. And then, as you may or may not be aware, the GoPIF, the LED lights for the parking lot, was funded by the state. So that project will be moving forward as well. If you've forgotten, we are a passport office. We continue to do that. We have 2 agents certified after I move along. So you'll have the capacity to do minimal passport processing there. And that's going to be, when someone's in the office and able to handle that, then that's how that will get handled for the short term anyway. Committees, conservation. Over the good weather, they're going to be doing a lot of site walks on town properties over the next couple months. The other item that they're excited to be working on will be the mapping updates and planning updates to the natural area studies. They'll be involved in these grants and checking off the boxes on comp plan implementation items that they have. And speaking of comp plan, the RECODA effort for the comp plan implementation committee. This one's the largest one. This one is difficult for me to leave behind, leave halfway through. So I don't know if I will be. I'm sure I'm going to be getting a lot of calls and answering a lot of questions because I'm not going far. This one's a really big opportunity for the town. Essentially, and boiling it down, and we've chatted about it before, but a lot of what Topsham's done in planning and zoning in the past is, the where and how we develop makes it matters. And we've already figured out the where quite a bit in that. This is a series of how we develop, and aligning that with the comp plan, aligning that with everybody's collective visions of how we want to develop as a community moving forward. And it really, I see this as just an opportunity for us to be more organized as a community, as reviewers, as planning boards, and all of that. It really needs to happen, and I hope that the end product is something that gets supported by the community. Those presentations were well received. And if you didn't know, they have a good webinar series that has between 40 and 50 people each time show up. So they're doing some good work. Historic district, you folks just put on a new member. Thank you. That's very important. They were definitely under represented there. They do have application reviews ongoing. They have some coming in. Often what goes unknown is the homeowner assistance when people call about the historic district permits and how we handle that. A lot of what happens is routine maintenance. And then the opportunities for certified local government grants. The new employee, Kate, already has a relationship with the state office and will be navigating that as that goes along. TDI, the assistance given there was really with this market analysis. There's a draft market analysis. They're going to be following up with pro formas on, I think, 4 or 5 building types. The feasibility and pro forma of hotel coming to Topsham, feasibility and pro forma of restaurant, all of these types of different uses that how we think about where those go, where those develop. I think I'll stop there. Thank you, Town of Topsham, for giving me a living for the past 18 years and education too. I'll miss it here. Quite a bit.
Thank you. Any questions of Rod?
Short Harbor, was that extended? And the only reason I ask is because, I mean, normally it would be, but because of all the strangeness that went on with that program for a little bit in terms of coordination, like, I don't know if it may have been.
No, we're on, I mean, status is we're on target. I don't think it needs to, I mean, we have the flags.
Oh, okay, cool.
Yeah.
Aside from that, I've worked with you since 2008, Rod. You've been a hell of a guy in one way, shape, or form, and you'll be missed for sure.
Thanks.
Fantastic job.
And I want to echo that. He was a great coworker, very easy to get along with, and he took his job very serious, and I appreciate it all.
Thank you, Ruth.
I always felt comfortable.
Good presentations always, and wish you all the best. I think you do a great job at that. And, certainly their gain and our loss.
Thanks.
Best of luck.
Well, I'm not gonna be so nice. You probably should stay here, quite frankly. You will be missed, Rod. It was, you're always fun to talk with and, very down to earth, which is not a quality often found in your career. And it made it a whole lot easier for someone at my level to understand the craziness of planning. And I appreciate it. So you still should stay, but whatever.
Thank you, folks. I appreciate it. I will miss this quite a bit. Thanks.
Take care. Any public comment? Correspondence. I've got some. Did anyone get it, Nick? No? Okay. Yep. So I got 2. One we all got is Eric Evans of 20 Prospect Street. Mr. Evans wrote that he would like for the bridge to be, a new bridge to be built for safe passage. Got another one from a lady in Brunswick today at 7 a.m. maybe. Brunswick resident, yeah, Brunswick resident. So I will say to everyone at home that sent letters that think we're approving a bridge tonight because of the article in the Times Record, that is not the case. It's never been the case. I can't explain it. This is a Maine DOT decision. We are simply eventually here later on down the docket going to vote on an agreement between the community and Maine DOT should the bridge ever get built. So can't always believe what you read, and this is a great realization of that.
Listen to the radio.
Yes, I will tell you, the night before that Times Record article came out, I was on the phone with our local radio station. And he warned me about the article that they were gonna put out. And we're just dumbfounded. So, anyway, any other letters, or was that everyone had the same thing? Any adjustments to the agenda? Nothing. Consent calendar, approval of the minutes of the regular select board meeting, April 21, 2022.
Second?
Moved and seconded, all in favor. So loud, Matt. I
Yeah,
love it.
well, trying.
We are on to 2230, new business. Consideration any appropriate action to approve road closure of Elm Street at Governor's Way for the culvert replacement. Mr. Dennis Cox from the Public Works.
Good evening, Dennis Cox, Topsham Public Works. We're here this evening asking for your approval to close Elm Street effective June 6th. And it would be reopened the week of June 27th. It'll be approximately 4 weeks. It's for the replacement of that old granite block box culvert that's under the road that's failed. We've been talking about this since 2017. It's been out to bid, it's been awarded, it's back. We're gonna work around a 6-inch, 300 PSI main natural gas line. We're gonna be working around a 3-inch pressurized gas line, a 16-inch sewer main that's pressurized, and 2 water lines. So we've got quite a project going down. And we had a pre-construction meeting last week. We have their schedule, and that's why I'm here this evening to ask permission to close the road for those 4 weeks. With a little bit of luck, it'll be less than that, okay? We'd rather, well, ask for a little more than not enough, and then have an extension. And approximately 2 weeks before the project, middle of May, there'll be 2 signboards put up, similar to what we have with DOT, like on Main Street. One on either end of Elm Street, the one on the end towards Middlesex will be there near the Foreside Road. And the other one's gonna be just around the corner by Green Street and Elm Street. So folks traveling that street will have 2 weeks of warning for the narrative sign, and then there'll be detour signs put up as well. The detour will be back Main Street around 196 to the other end. We've met with the management at the Highlands. They're aware of the closing, and they've been real cooperative in communicating it to their residents, to the visitors, and to their contractors and service trucks and things like that to come in. They're gonna be using the entrance coming in off Community Way, coming in off 196. We've talked to the school department with the school buses coming through the area, although it'll create some hardship. They're coming up with an alternative plan as well, so that they've had a 4-week notice to get everything in place. Worked with police, fire, and EMS. They're aware of it, and both chiefs for EMS and fire are comfortable with using the Community Way entrance as well, coming to that side of the highway. We do have quite a few EMS trips in and out of that facility. At this point, I think we've got our ducks in a row and things are planned out accordingly. We've worked and talked with the fairground folks. They've got a flower show the weekend before, but nothing scheduled per se during the month that we're talking about closing it right now. We'll be all done, buttoned up, blacktop, long before the fair starts back up. So, you know, that's one of the biggest goals here. And we're working with a couple of environmental rules and regulations while we're doing it before school gets out, not waiting until a couple of weeks later on. We've got some wildlife we have to be concerned of in the waterways and in the trees, the bats. So we've got some tree work that has to be done as well. Any questions? I can help.
I think you're pretty thorough.
We hope
I'll
so.
make a motion. You want us to approve it, I guess, right?
Please.
Make a motion that we approve road closure of Elm Street at Governor's Way for the culvert replacement beginning June 6th and to as late as July 1st.
Second.
Or longer if it has to be, whatever. Motion and seconded, all those in favor?
So
Unanimous.
thank you.
Once you cut the road open, you can go as long as you want. It's nothing we can do. 2231, consideration any appropriate action on the municipal/state agreement for replacement of the Frank J. Wood Bridge update. Mark Waltz, Assistant Town Manager, will be jumping in with us.
Can you hear me?
You.
And I think Rod doesn't want to see me, so he blocked my video, but if he wants to unblock it, that's fine with me. So, greetings from my undisclosed COVID quarantine location. At your last board meeting, you looked at the agreement for the bridge with the state, which primarily what they're looking for is it says how that we're going to maintain the park that's created on our side, and we're going to pay for like our portion of the electricity share the plowing with Brunswick, et cetera. But some of the boilerplate in that agreement says that the municipality hereby agrees in connection with the project, Maine DOT and its contractors are exempt from all local ordinances, including but not limited to any noise ordinance. Selectman Nixon raised at that meeting that municipalities are charged with enforcing shoreline zoning. And he suggested we might want to exclude that from the ordinances they would be exempt from. And then, as you know, you passed that you agreed to the agreement with that change, that there would be no exemption for shoreline zoning. I took that back to the state. They said that they would not sign the agreement with that exception, reason being the state bridges and roads are exempt from shoreline zoning anyway. So it's not that they don't pay attention to the issue. They've done it through the permitting process they've had to do for the state and federal authorities. But they do not have to follow municipal shoreline zoning, and they do not want to agree to. So what we're back to ask tonight is if you're satisfied with that answer and you're willing to sign the agreement as written, or not.
Everyone understand? Any questions of it? Seems kind of, what do you do?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm not a big fan of exempting them from all of our ordinances, but it is what it is.
Right.
And they actually, on DOT's website, they have an entire page dedicated to the environmental assessment that they did for this. It's 14 pages. It's not that long. You can take a look at it, but they take into account everything from salmon, moss, impacts, turbidity, and lay out exactly what they're going to be doing to mitigate those issues. So I'm satisfied with that. It's fine by me.
Great, I guess that's where we're at. So how would we make this? Make a motion to have the town manager sign and accept the municipal/state agreement should the Frank J. Wood Bridge be replaced for maintenance and upkeep and such.
Second.
That makes sense for you? That's what you need, right? Okay. Did he write one for me? Oh, sorry. I want to pull your second. I didn't realize,
Okay.
Mark was on top of it. So Ruth has pulled her second. I'm pulling my motion. I'm gonna read
Okay.
this one right here.
Take it away.
To approve the MDOT proposed municipal state agreement for proposed improvements to the Frank J. Wood Bridge, number 2016, and authorize the town manager to execute the agreement on behalf of the town.
Second.
Motion and seconded. All those in favor? Unanimous. Thank you. For the record, I feel I said all those things in a regular person's layout. Thank you, Mark.
You're welcome.
That brings us to executive session 22-32. Enter into executive session pursuant to 1 MRSA, subsection 405, 6A, to discuss personnel matters. All those in favor? Motion, let's second. Second. All in favor? Unanimous and
It's fair to report that I'm just going to do a couple lines on the bridge thing, but that you gave preliminary approval last time, and this is final.